So, Jesse Eisenstadt, the last time we caught up with you was early 2000s, and a few things have changed. What's the course of your life been in the last 20 years? Can you give us a update?
Yeah, Wendelin, hi. 20 years, that was kind of a long time ago. I suspect some of well, maybe almost all the Global Village school, people going to the school weren't even alive last time we checked back in. Is that right?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
Uh, well, hey everyone. Um, yeah, so I had graduated in 2009. I went to the Middle East after college to go write a book and be a journalist. It seems crazy. Maybe it was then, but that's what I did. We haven't really had a recession since then. Maybe just saying that right now will date this for 20 years. But we had a terrible recession and it was really hard to get a job. So that's what I did. Now I'm sitting here, the year's 2024. I started a small software company. I've got two kids, a wife now I'm very proud of, and started a small software company and coming to you from Santa Barbara, California.
Which is the town you grew up in,
That's
and
right.
you've managed to stay there. And the software company The software company is in what area of business, and how did you get into that? You had an early interest in videography, and that is sort of you followed that thread, didn't you?
Yeah, I had a small business for a little while that was just producing videos, for companies like for advertising. So just making video production and websites. And I just felt that it was very project to project and that the perception wasn't, oh, let's go, carve a lot of budget out of this, but rather, what's the cheapest guy we could find without appreciating what it was. So it kind of, one thing always you kind of compensate for your on the next thing from the last thing. And I realized that I wanted to do something important that had, some real backing behind it. And what was going on is we were permitting a rental unit in our backyard. So we were going to tear down the garage and build, what's called an ADU, accessory dwelling unit, and rent it out. And that's what we're going to do. And so as part of that, they do what's called a sewer lateral inspection. And so they basically have a camera and they push it through a pipe. A plumber does it, and they video record the pipe to make sure that it's in compliance. And so what they would do is take that on a thumb drive and fill out a paper form and drive it down to the city for review. So the first time the plumber lost it, second time the city lost it, and I'm just standing there in the driveway, on the west side of Santa Barbara, thinking, this is so bad. This is great. And so I would put the kids to sleep, 9 o'clock, sit on the couch to midnight, and I'd use this free program called Figma and or Sketch. And I'm sure, by the next time we do this, it'll be something completely different. But I was able with a non-technical background, right? I don't code. Um, I was able to just go out on the internet and just start learning stuff. And then I designed what needed to be done. And I brought on a partner who does do coding. And, we always talk about software engineers have this graveyard of projects because they make esoteric code and stuff that they think is great. But what about the person actually using the thing?
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time. I had the property kind of owner perspective on that. And then, I did ride-alongs with plumbers, which was fun, seemingly insane at the time, riding around with plumbers all day. Um, no idea whether I was ever going to get paid or anything. And yeah, um, so we created a cloud application to do that, and I was able to design it, and we got buy-in from the city of Santa Barbara, and here we are now. We're in 8 cities across California.
Wow. So it you essentially gambled on developing the app and hoped that it would be useful and saleable to municipalities in California, and you now work with some other cities as well, not just Santa Barbara, right?
Correct. And the issue is that in California, we have these ordinances that state that the sewer line connecting the house to the street is owned by the property. And these things are really old generally, unless they've been replaced. And so rainwater gets in, overloads the gets into the private sewer lateral, then gets into the main, overloads the main, and you have these like beach closure because it rained, and the public is thinking this is insane and crazy, um and so the weak part in the process was the private sewer laterals, and we were able to convince city staff that this was a good way to run the review approval process. And that's what it is. And we're not funded by venture capitalists or anything. We went small with increments of success along the way. I mean, there was, took years to just keep building it, but here we are today, and things are going well.
What's the name of the business?
Forward lateral. It's kind of a funny football reference, but I thought, if we're gonna sit here and talk to plumbers from Eureka to Laguna Beach. Hey, I got a question about this or that. Or people at the city. Forward lateral. We don't want APXY computing. Nobody knows what that is. So it's kind of like an inside joke with the plumbers, and it starts the conversation off on a maybe a
Because it
nicer.
what does it refer to?
It refers to a forward lateral in football, which is an illegal play. So it's like if the forward, but the sewer lateral, it's like going forward, but also
Yeah.
forward lateral, it's like a football thing. But people just aren't used to like jokes or that, like, or just
Oh,
defending
really?
the right.
I think this,
Yeah,
I think that the sewer business is pretty funny.
it's pretty funny. You want to talk environmentalism, though. I would say that everyone's always looking for some esoteric thing. The sewer system, I'll say, is one of the incredible advancements of human civilization, and so just getting the thing to actually work. How about that, right? So
Yeah.
that's the contribution. Make a business out of it, and and I would just like to claim that we're entitled to have a little fun along the way. Hence, forward lateral is the name.
Cool.
Yeah.
And does your when back when we knew you 20 years ago, you were a surfer and you had
Hmm.
various interests. And what are you into today? Have you retained some of your early interests? Are you still into politics?
Sure. I mean, I think everyone's into politics. I think I'm maybe less like opinionated now in the sense of I really try and have I go out of my way to make sure I have friends of different backgrounds, different opinions. I enjoy that. I think it's fun. I think when people ask me about politics, I got the chance to study abroad in China, and that's a single party system, and it's not that much fun. I mean, there's something beautiful for everything you could say about American democracy. There's something beautiful about having an opposition party to just sort of say something different. And there's many flaws in democracy, but I get to work with in politics because of the working with the municipalities, and I can just say that there's a lot of really hardworking, smart people. Th I mean, surely there's people maybe you'd say something different about 100%, but I in California at least, there's been a lot of really, smart, hardworking people, and I say that to them when I talk to them, with Forward Lateral and their private sewer lateral program they're running. I say, the state and the city is lucky to have you there, um, and I think they appreciate hearing that,
Well,
and I mean it.
yeah, indeed. I mean, the not everybody has an interesting job, but even, the most basic jobs are they're critical to keeping the city running. I mean, in the sewer system, in a sense, is it it exemplifies that totally. It's unseen. It operates, under the ground. But if it's not operating, like you
Hmm.
said earlier, it really is a bummer. Life goes very badly if the sewer systems aren't functioning. And you showed
They
me some video of the
The camera.
yeah, going through the pipes and seeing the roots and
Hmm. The
the
one shot.
yeah, that
And
was
so
your
what, and
that
we
was
look
your
at observations in the pipe, like, oh, there's roots coming in, or oh,
yeah,
it's offset, or something like that. And
yeah,
that would let in rainwater, which causes the spills.
yeah. Well, I think that the the aspect of you being able to make a living in the town where you grew up and raise your kids and still enjoy surfing and taking your boat out to the islands, you have really made a business and done it in your own way creatively and having your office near the harbor and making it work for you. It's really cool.
Yeah, thank you. And I think that a lot of people want to go into, like, I remember, with Global Village, like a lot of people had kind of these idealized things like, oh, I want to go into like a nonprofit or something. But I would just like to encourage everyone to think about, like, you know, there is something very efficient about business. And what it really comes down to is we live in a capitalist society, and groceries cost money, like where you live costs money. And so you can do a lot of really great stuff as a business, and a business with good margin in it. It doesn't need to be one or the other. I mean, I would consider myself to be incredibly selfish in the sense that I love swimming in the ocean, I love diving in the ocean, I love the creatures in the ocean, I love surfing in the ocean. And so part of what my software, Forward Lateral, does is help these cities run this vulnerable weak point within their sewer system. I mean, AI is the current accelerant of human progress. The sewer system is and was a major, major accelerant to human progress. And so to get this thing working as it should is is a task that continues to get better. And so
Mm.
I'm very proud about that.
Yeah, and to keep the oceans and the beaches safe for swimming.
Yeah, and the stuff in there. I mean, it's something we can do, and so I just
Yeah.
want to, you can blend business and idealism. I think that's very important.
That's a great place to end the interview. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Wendelin, and thank you, Global Village.